The best of the morning X 99X.
Make us say wow.
All right, let's kick it off with Louie.
How y'all doing today?
Good, Louie. Make us say wow, please.
All right. Back in high school, I guess I was in like 10th grade. I was at this party at a local hotel, and
They
we were
love
up on
when
the
the high
12th
schoolers
floor.
have parties there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. We're up on the 12th floor, and I'd gone outside on the balcony to take a breath, get some fresh air. And a gentleman inside, which I figure was using certain things he probably shouldn't have, decided he was fed up with life, or I don't know what it was. He took a running bolt for the outside, for the balcony, and hurdled the balcony. And as he was going over, he kind of turned and started to go head first down. And I managed to grab him by the ankle as he was going down. I was the only person out there. If I hadn't been out there, he would have fallen 12 stories, gone through a glass roof that covered a half indoor, half outdoor swimming pool, would have gone through that and into the pool.
Was he on some sort of trip?
What was that?
He was on his way down.
Yeah.
Man, when you first started telling the story, I was like, okay, suicide, but then when you said you grabbed his ankles, that's like out of a Clint Eastwood movie.
I mean, you had to be at exactly the right time to catch his ankles like that.
Yeah, it was completely lucky and all reflexes. I wasn't even thinking about it. I saw this guy just come flying by me because I was leaning on the balcony just kind of looking around. I didn't even hear him coming. I just heard some people screaming, and he just leaped. And I just turned and saw him going down.
You must be a strong guy to hang on to. He must have weighed, 120 or 130?
In high school, yeah, I was pretty strong. He was well over 6. He was like 6'1" or 6'2", and he probably was close to 200 pounds.
It may have been one of those adrenaline things.
It was all adrenaline.
So,
what was his reaction?
When you grab his ankle and he's dangling over the side of the wall, what did you do?
Did he try kicking away?
When I grabbed him, about 3 seconds later, it felt like an eternity. A bunch of other guys came running out. They saw him go over the edge, and they grabbed him and pulled him back in.
Now, do you think it was a suicide attempt, or was he just freaking out from drugs?
He was freaking out. He was on a specific drug that I know of, and he was such a nice guy. I just met him earlier that night.
Well, what drug was he on? X?
No, cocaine.
Coke?
And he was just.
He was Superman.
Yeah, he was so nice. And then as soon as I saw him later that evening, he was just in a rage, just going around busting glass and walking down the hallway, just bashing on doors and stuff.
Did he try kicking away from you when you grabbed his ankles?
No, actually, he was just hanging there. I don't even think he realized someone had actually grabbed him.
Did he ever realize later what had happened and thank you for it?
I never saw him again.
Never?
What a bizarre story.
He was like a friend of, I guess, someone at the party, and I never saw him again, never heard from him or anything, which was kind of good because I don't know what I would have said to him.
He was so coked up, but, he probably doesn't even remember it happening.
Exactly. He probably did. He probably thought it was a dream the next day.
Yeah, but you would think somebody would later tell him what happened and say, hey, see that guy Louie over there? He saved your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd want to know that,
That's definitely a wow.
But...
Oh, yeah, that's a great story.
That's a wow.
That's a wow. Thanks, Louie.
Good story,
all right,
Louie.
no problem.
See you later.
All right,
Brad?
there we go.
Yes.
Hit me, Brad. Make me say wow.
When I was about 4 years old, I bit my tongue off.
Okay. Can you go into a little more detail?
Well, I was riding my tricycle, and it must have turned real sharp, and I must have had my tongue hanging out of my mouth. And I guess like when you're a little kid, you have your tongue out of your mouth or whatever. But I fell, and my chin hit the concrete, and it bit my tongue. I bit my tongue off.
How much
Completely off.
Ooh.
How much of
I
your
don't
tongue?
know, probably inch.
An
2
inch.
inches, something
Wow.
like that.
And were they able to just sew it back on, or do you have half a tongue
Well,
now?
what they told me was that there was nothing they could do. They told my mother and my father there was nothing they could do, and just to take me home, and finally it would just fall off. And they said that it kept bleeding all night. And they finally took me back to the emergency room, and they sewed it back on, but they said it had been so long that they doubted anything, that it would stay, but it did.
So now you have, what, a full tongue still? Or
Yes.
And you have full use of your tongue? Well, I'll tell you what, we better talk to your wife about that. Can we talk?
Hey. Thanks, Brad.
Yes,
thank you.
See you later.
Thank you for calling us from turn 3 at the Talladega 500. I mean, jeez.
Jeremy.
Hey there, how's it going?
Good, make us say wow.
All right, I was out at Lake Lanier snorkeling a couple years ago, and there was a scuba diving class.
Hang on just a second. Warning, disgusting content involved in this one. Just telling you guys right now, because 7:28, put that disclaimer. Go ahead.
All right.
So who can turn it off now?
Do what?
Who could turn that? Who could go, you know what, I better not listen.
Yeah, a bunch of people should.
Okay, go ahead, Jeremy.
All right, that's stupid.
I was watching some people scuba diving, and they came out and they were cleaning their tanks up, and they were purging their valves and everything, and this lady turned her valve, and the valve exploded, and it blew her eyeball out of her eye socket, and it was hanging on her face. You could see just hundreds and hundreds of veins going to the eyeball. There was flesh all over the place. And she was just in shock for a second. You know, she just laid there for a second, laid there. Then she just started spazzing out, screaming and yelling and moaning, and they were pinning her down, waiting for the paramedics to show up.
Now, this is outside the water?
Yes, sir. It was outside the water. The day when it happened, they were sitting on the beach. She was still in full gear, and she had her tank off, and they were just purging the valves on it when it exploded.
I'm not a scuba diver, so what is that? What are you doing when you're doing that?
You're clearing the air out of your lines and everything.
But now, and I'm not a doctor, Jeremy, you sound like a very credible guy, although I'm finding some of this a little tough to believe. How does air, are you saying that the pressure of the air going into her blew the eye out, or there was like a kind of a mini explosion on the valve?
It's kind of a mini explosion on the valves. The actual pressure exploded and blew the
pushed
valve.
her eye out from the inside?
Yes,
yeah. She was looking down at it while she was turning the valve, kind of like you would just turn a Coke bottle top, and it exploded right. She was right there.
Hit her in the
bottle.
eye.
So kind of like, I see. So it wasn't
pushed
like
it out.
It pushed it. It wasn't like all this air went into her body and forced out the eye, because I don't think
You're thinking
body
like a cartoon.
Yeah, I don't think the body works like that. But if it exploded outside her eye, then
This segment is turning into make us say gross.
Hey, what's going on?
One time me and some friends, or me and a buddy, was out riding around in the car partying, this weekend.
Something tells me this is going to be a good one just based on that opening sentence.
Yeah. Well, we pulled up behind this school building to take a whiz. And I was standing there whizzing, and I looked up, and I seen this soccer ball in the gutter up there in the top of the building, 2-story red brick school building. So I get in the corner of the building and climb it all the way to the top, get up there and knock the ball out of the knock the soccer ball out of the gutter, and then climb back down the building.
This is one of those y'all watch this stories where somebody ends up dying at the end.
Exactly. Yeah, and the grout between the bricks, was what, maybe a half-inch below the surface of the brick. I just put my fingers right in the corner of the, right in the grout there, and my feet, and I climbed out. I was doing a little bit more than drinking that night. And like I say, I climbed that 2-story building and then climbed it back down.
So you climbed up a 2-story building to get a soccer ball and climbed it back down.
Right.
I don't think I've ever heard a more fantastic story in my life. I'm serious, Barnes.
Grand champion.
That is the grand champ.
Really?
Yeah, that is the grand champ.
Thanks for calling.
Well, that is certainly a bad story all of us are going to remember for a long time.
Welcome to the best of the Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. Lowering expectations one segment at a time. 99X.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
My name is David Goss. I am joined by 2 icons of the game, Megan Klingenberg and Ale Bedoya.
It's just been so fun
being a part of this community that we are building.
Hopefully we'll be not just a niche sport here in our country, but also even more respected across the globe.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We are excited to cover it all here at the U.S. Soccer Podcast. It is going to be a big year. Kling, red card, or play on?
A play on.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.